Hey, I'm John.
And I'm Becky.
And this is the We Are for Good podcast.
Nonprofits are faced with more challenges to accomplish their missions and the growing pressure to do more, raise more, and be more for the causes that improve our world.
We're here to learn with you from some of the best in the industry, bringing the most innovative ideas, inspirational stories, all to create an impact uprising.
So welcome to the good community. We're nonprofit professionals, philanthropists, world changers, and rabid fans who are striving to bring a little more goodness into the world.
So let's get started. Hey, Becky, what you know?
Well, we're going to talk about one of our favorite topics today. You know, we've often talked about how we're marketers disguised as fundraisers, but we learned this really cool word that we're obsessed with called nonprofit marketecture. I don't know who coined it, but I am here for it. It is this concept of how to design your tech systems so they actually work together and they work for you. And we're going to be talking about when you can set them up in that way. What is possible to be unlocked is really limitless. And we couldn't just have a marketing conversation. We had to bring in a case study and we had to bring in experts and people who are actually doing the work. So today we're highlighting this really cool world case study with Second Harvest Food Bank of Central Florida. They recently went through this really extensive full digital transformation. And we're going to be hearing from Maria Shanley, their Director of Marketing and Data Management, who led the rebuild. And along with her is our good friend Charles Lehosit, who's the Senior Vice President of Digital over at RKD Group, who has been oh so good to We Are for Good, such an early believer in this movement. And Charles is leading this team of more than 80 digital experts. And friends, if you're like, what is cutting through the noise right now? What is that scroll-stopping content that is going to get a believer to interact with my mission? This is the conversation we're going to have today. They're going to be talking about the challenges, the processes, and the outcomes of how to truly create a connective ecosystem that powers smarter decisions and stronger donor relationships, which I know we are all here for. So, Maria, Charles, welcome to the show. We're so excited to get into this.
Thank you for having us today.
Thank you.
So before we dive into this really exciting case study, because we want to know from soup to nuts, how did you build a thing? We want to get to know the humans. So Maria, I want to start with you, and I just want to hear a little bit about your story and what led you into this nonprofit work.
Yeah, Maria Shanley, Director of Marketing and Data Management at the Food Bank. So I have a really amazing role and opportunity to oversee marketing and communications at the food bank, as well as the data side of things, which is the data analysis and data processing of gifts. And so I think like from my start is I went to UCF. I'm a UCF Knight graduate, and I've always loved marketing, and that was my major. And my minor was management information systems. And so I feel like from the beginning, it was like my school knew before I knew I was going to end up in nonprofit. And so
Sounds like all of us.
yeah, right. So you go to school, you pick a major and a minor, and then somehow you end up doing it for life, which is really cool. I don't know, not everybody gets a chance to do that, but I've been very thankful and grateful for my opportunity to work at the food bank. I have been here for 16 years. And so I started just writing emails and updating the website. And now I lead a team of 9 and 3 different teams. And it changes every year. I love it. And, you know, I'm looking to help people. I've found or I've learned that impact drives me. And I think that's why I stay here, right? Every year I get to try something different, do something new. And because of that, I've had the opportunity to speak at conferences or do Feeding America sessions and talk to other food banks and share the success that we've had with our Giving Tuesday campaigns, our monthly donor growth campaigns that we do, our omni-channel campaigns that we do year round. It's just, I love being able to share and help others and make the world better.
Well, I can tell we are inordinately lucky that we have you in this work. So thank you for staying in it. And Charles, hi, bud. Like, tell us what's going on. What's your story? We want to know you.
What's my story? Maria, we are both Floridians. I'm a Floridian that found himself living in Kansas currently on like a small farm. But I went to University of Florida, was majoring in business and computer engineering, and interned at a small software startup. had me take the shortcut to finish up college with a business degree. And I've always been the person that can talk to normal people and engineers. If you're an engineer and you're listening to this, you are definitely a normal person to me. But I guess that I was going to say I've always been just a huge nerd, but I needed to kind of explain like the value of my nerdiness is I can talk to different types of nerds, translate between them.
You're our people for sure.
Yeah.
That's important too. We have somebody on my team who can do that. He's our translator for developers.
I love that. Well, friends, so we're talking today about digital transformation. What's unlocked once we kind of work through getting our tech stack in order, getting our communication synced with our goals and kind of all the technology in the background. So I'd love to just jump in with you, Maria. Like, what was the decision like to decide, okay, it's time to rebuild our tech stack? And what were some of those challenges or pain points that maybe could be signs to someone listening to be like, oh, that's totally us. Like I see us in your story that led you down this path to say, okay, something's got to change.
Yeah. So I think one of the biggest things I noticed was that we were starting to create a lot of custom fields in our database. And we were trying to fit things into places where there wasn't really a spot for. We also experienced huge donor growth during COVID when there was also a huge need in our community. So we had a lot of donors step up to help, a lot of companies step up to help. So our data changed within that year. It grew, our data structure changed. We were creating spots for things that didn't fit. And we realized how important it really was to connect our data. At that point, our digital fundraising tool would bring in gifts into our CRM, but it wasn't connecting important data that we could see. And it was a lot of manual work that was happening as well. And so for us, we started looking at all these things. We looked at our contracts. We saw when they were up. That kind of gave us a timeline of, okay, this is how much time I have to do this. How do we work backwards from that? We spent about a year talking to other food banks, other nonprofits. We worked with vendors to get advice on things. But the most important thing that we did that was a big challenge, but also an opportunity, was we spoke with our team. We spoke with everybody that touched the database. It wasn't just the database for the fundraising team. It was the database that our grants team used, our finance team used, and we were able to bring everybody together to understand not just how they were using the tool that we had in the past, but what they wanted from a new tool. And I think that was really important because at that point, we all connected even more as separate teams to understand that we were moving forward towards one goal together.
Okay, that was genius. I have to tell you, John and I did this one time. I know, John, I'm going to take you back. Do you remember the month that we batched gifts? We were marketers. We went from a 150-person shop down to a 10-person shop. We had, our gift processor was out, and I have to tell you, I think that I sat atop all of these marketing and data systems with a lot of ego before I actually got into them. And once you could see the process from the beginning to the end, because what I think you've done is really important, because when you fully know your systems and how people are using them and how to extract that data, then you're going to create an experience for your community. And if it's disjointed or other people are having sort of a convoluted or a different way of approaching it, then that experience is going to be felt. So I think this approach is really, really smart that you took, and it really allowed the culture of your staff, probably, I'm going to assume, to all feel like they had ownership.
They're part of the process.
Absolutely, yes. Which is so strong. And Charles, I want to know from your perspective, when you look at a case study like this, what would be like the first step in planning a digital transformation for a nonprofit? We're going to have a lot of nonprofits listening, a lot of smaller nonprofits. We want to know, how do you approach aligning those mission goals with system design? What's your counsel on that?
Love that question. So I think your first goal should be not letting, perfect be the enemy of great.
There you go.
You're rarely going to find consensus among all teams and why a lot of projects tend to fail to even take off is that someone will say, well, you can't move my thing. You can't move this. This has to stay here. And so it's giving people permission to say, okay, yeah, your thing, absolutely. We need technology to deliver this for your thing. But that may mean finance has their database. That may mean fundraising and development has a different database. If they can align on the same, awesome. But it won't always be the same, right? You may end up with layers or a stack that is optimized for each team. And that's not the wrong approach. If you can find the one tool that everybody can work with, awesome. The most important thing is that we have known and planned integration points. We talk about donor journeys, but we don't really talk about the data journey of the donor, right? And we should picture it as like a marble run. And
that's awesome.
Have you ever had fun with a marble run when it just went like boop? Or did you have fun with it when it was like it went from here to here to here to here?
That's also called the Gravitram at the Science Museum. Yes, I love that. We can all visually see that.
Exactly, and it's when we are building a Marketecture. That's really what we want people to think about is that in that intentional planning of, hey, we're going to have and allow for decoupled systems, but how does the data connect at the end of the day? And if it doesn't connect right away, what's the interim plan? What's the timing of this? Because where a lot of nonprofits fall into traps will be unintentionally disconnecting the marble run where, hey, that email sign up on my website, it used to go somewhere, but I changed systems and the timing didn't line up. And so it doesn't go anywhere at the moment. Maybe the online fundraising platform used to be also my email marketing platform. It used to be a multi-purpose, one-stop shop tool. And when you maybe change to maybe a more optimized single purpose fundraising platform, all right, what are those donors going to? They're going to the CRM, but are they also syncing with the email marketing platform? And so that's, again, the marble run where, are the donors ending up in a dead end run? Are they ending up on a dead end road? And so it's okay to replace systems in steps one by one, doing it all at once. That may be the ultimately the goal and what is needed once you start replacing systems. But once you replace one system, well, this has the impact on what behind the data, and so what's the interim plan? Because likely there's going to be data that ends up being siloed.
There's a lot of decisions you have to make of where your data is going to go, how it's going to flow. A lot of spot checking of donors, seeing what their journey looked like. Like if they came in from the digital fundraising tool, are they ending up in the email tool? What are the emails they're receiving? What are the touches that are happening to them in the CRM? And then using other tools, like we like to use Google Analytics. So that helps us see an even bigger picture of other things that might be happening. So a lot of spot checking, and it's really cool work.
It's like the secret shopper of getting online and making your gift. I'm here for it.
It's exactly that. If you think about like the folks listening today, if you've made a change earlier this year, act as a donor, act as a visitor, sign up for your own email again, and spot check. See if it's stuff landing where it's supposed to be, because it's easy for us to get tied up in that project got moved to next year. Well, then are we leaving the donors and subscribers in a kind of a holding cell at the moment until that happens? And as critical as this time of year is, we need to make sure that that data is landing, even if it's manually or an interim solution.
Yeah, we had a diagram that showed when specific systems were launching and how they would impact specific groups in our development team.
Ooh, I like
and
that.
We did I did monthly updates with everybody, finance, grants, development, to let them know where we were, what was happening. Because we also did a monthly donor migration, which is another big change that happens, which is a little it's a little nerve-wracking, but it went well. And because our contract that we ended, we also had to launch a new website during this time period.
Oh, just add that on.
Casual.
Yeah,
you should do it all at once. Why
not
not?
doing that ever again, but the team that I work with is amazing, and we took it step by step. And I think one of the best things that we ever did together as a team is we sat at the beginning and we told each other what we needed during this time from each other. And so they came up with, I wrote them down because I always have them on my notebook, is they told me they needed focus, patience, learning, time, and consistency. And we shared those words during all our meetings to remind ourselves, this is how we started. This is where we're at. And look at and I was able to show them, look what you've been able to do. But making sure these words are always very important and top of mind for everyone.
Hey friend, taking a quick pause to share about some of our amazing partners. Meet GiveButter, RKD Group, Whiteboard, and so on. These aren't just amazing partners for We Are For Good, they're value-aligned allies who are fueling and growing the Impact Uprising, and so of course we want you to know them. So if you are looking for a new CRM or a fundraising or marketing partner, maybe an impact strategist or a creative team, we'd love to make a warm introduction for you to one of our trusted partners. They happen to be powered by amazing humans too. You can check them out at weareforgood.com/Rex. That's weareforgood.com/RECS.
Props to you. Love how you're shepherding the team through this, how you're clearly doing a lot of things at the same time. But I want to call out the visualization, I think is really important too, that so many, even at We Are For Good, not everybody on the team knows how everything connects. So it's like we can't even watch out for each other to say, is that working as we intend it to work? Like, I think that's a powerful tool just to like map it so we can see where's the flow of information. And hello, onboarding and people leaving and things changing. We just need that documented step. So this is so good. So I'm curious, Maria, now that your systems are all connected, what changes have you seen? And, you know, how has this empowered your team maybe to have data that can turn into action?
So our last vendor meeting, I kid you not, was the first week in October. So our systems...
Go you.
You're fresh in it.
So we are fresh in it. But already with our new digital tools, we've been able to see our email tool has a heat map feature where we've been able to change our emails already based on what we're seeing on those heat maps for the emails that we've already sent out. We're seeing more growth on our digital fundraising side. And those tools are a lot easier and faster to adapt to. Our big new CRM, I like to describe it. We were in a very comfortable studio where we knew where everything was at. Our closets were filled with a bunch of stuff, but we knew where to find things. Now we're in this huge house where we have so many drawers and so much space, and we've put data in specific areas and we've seen it work. But now it's like really thinking about, is this really the best space for our data? And really so spending really the next year growing and understanding this new tool and the learning part of it. I think that's something that a lot of nonprofits don't talk about, is the dip that happens when you move over to a new tool and the work goes down, but it's only because everybody's still learning the tool and understanding what's happening with the data. We're building new reports. We're coming up with new processes. And so I will say, like, the faster tools that we've been able to adapt to, which is the email and the digital fundraising, we're definitely seeing a lot more and growth. And the other one, we're in it. We're in it right now.
What does that functionally look like, Maria? Like, what did it look like before? And what does it look like now for you? And I would love to hear even an example of how something has been so accelerated. And
yes.
Yeah, any examples you have?
Before, we were having to know code for email building.
Oh my god!
Now we're using a WYSIWYG. Our new direct marketing person. She didn't know code when she started like 2 years ago, and now she can read code.
I have not heard WYSIWYG since I was in Dreamweaver.
Exactly, right? Building emails is a lot faster. Seeing dashboards and data is a lot easier with email. We have created dashboards in our CRM But with the data that we're seeing from email and digital and fundraising, that's really cool because we're able to see if a donor is also a volunteer, if they've attended an event, how else they're involved with the food bank. And that's something that we couldn't see before. And so just being able to have a 360 better view of our supporters and our donors and how they're interacting with the food bank is going to help us with any future campaigns that we include them in, as well as our stewardship team in ways to thank them and guide them in the work that they do.
So good. I mean, I love that this is power. Like, I feel like I'm going back to like knowledge is power, but the data is power. And when we can get information in areas that we can actually build intelligent campaigns, we can build emails that are a lot more smarter, showing that we know who the human is on the other side. That's how this thing grows and scales, how we lean into the power of tech. So I'm curious, Charles, I mean, you have this huge team. I'm still reeling from like a team of 80 digital experts. Like, how cool is that? What does real-time donor intelligence look like from a digital perspective? And how can maybe organizations lean into more personalization across channels, if that's even the right word? Like, what's available to us now that maybe we're not thinking of that we can really up-level our digital engagement online?
Yeah, that's a fun question. What we want, people to think about a personalization, especially if you're starting from scratch, is that 0 to 100 looks like, hey, this is John on your website versus this is Becky on your website. And that can be intimidating, that level of hyper personalization. It doesn't have to be that, though, because what we really want is to think about where is John and his journey, where's Becky and her journey. And so that means you fall into an audience or in a segment, and personalization at a segment or audience level. It's much more realistic and a good way to get into what's then attainable and sustainable in real time. Meaning in real time, we can see someone that came from an email that's on your website. So we can know what segment they fell into from that email channel and know what they clicked on. So if we wanted to keep the consistent messaging, keep the consistent creative, so it's not, hey, I went from this really compelling message to this hero banner on the homepage that isn't connected whatsoever to that message, to now I'm finding my way again on a homepage that can be definitely not Maria's homepage, but a homepage that can be like the junk drawer for everything that an organization does. And so would encourage us all to think about, a website as more like fluid hotspots, as content blocks where it's not the entire website that needs to be rebuilt on the fly, but there could be blocks that are being personalized based on what we know about the channel, the audience that someone came from in real time, or what they were interested in in their maybe previous visit, that allows us to give them a better experience and more importantly, a more consistent experience. So it's not them having to go, okay, this current message really moved me. And now I'm seeing something that's describing something else, and I really want to get back to the message that moved me. So that consistent experience, we know it drives, better conversion rates, more revenue. So what that really means is it creates a better experience for ultimately our donors and supporters.
Keep the creative consistent is now one of my new favorite phrases, because I really think you're onto something there, because we've often talked about your website as it's the hub. It's like the front door. Usually when somebody is coming into your home, what kind of an experience do you want them to have? We have no idea which room they're going to turn into based on what's going on in their life, what's been triggered. Did they see an ad? Are they responding to an email? And I do think that having your house in order is one of the best ways that you can be an incredible host, and that you can also understand what people want and how to be hospitable in that, and how to be responsive in that, how to be communicative. And I really love this conversation. And I have this question that I want to ask to both of you. Maria, I'm going to start with you. If we have a nonprofit listener out there and they're just thinking about starting to connect their systems right now, and this is a big effort, what are the most impactful first steps that you would recommend where somebody could actually see the results without being very overwhelmed? What would be maybe that first step, Maria?
I think that first step would be talking with each other, and similar to what we did, and understanding how people are using the system, right? I think that we learned a lot from each other during that time. We created this document called a matrix needs document, and we went through it with every team and wrote all the things that they needed. And it was almost like a need, want, deal breaker. And this helped us really understand where we were and how our teams were using where we wanted to go. I think there's a lot of really shiny tools out there that we all like and want, but you really have to look at where you are in your nonprofit journey as an organization, as well as what your team capacity is, right? If you don't have the team and the support for a tool, you can get a shiny tool, but it's not going to help you.
How many of us have gotten CRMs that we can't fully flex all of the bells and whistles, but we were starry-eyed when we saw them, and now they're just distractions? I think that is such a good tip, and I love the co-build piece because, again, everyone has ownership. Everyone can drive into that process. Charles, what would you say is that really impactful first step you'd recommend?
Understanding what people do in their job. We've had data team members from nonprofits actually document step by step what they do. And when you read it, you're like, oh, wow, this could be a really, let's see, it's October, a really great horror movie of the, what you've done. But that same person, they have probably grown attached to their tool, right? Humans get really good
at their process.
Right.
Yes.
Humans get really good at workaround, and
it.
the process is the process because of the constraints of the tool and how we work in it. And so documenting that is extremely helpful because it helps us then allow us to say, hey, we'd like to give you permission to hit the reset button on some of this, right? Like we don't want to move into a new house and bring the same habits that we had to form in our old house because we didn't fit in the old house anymore. And so we want to develop new habits in the new house. So really giving people permission to hit the reset button and with the understanding that we're not all hitting the reset button at once. We can hit the reset button on, hey, if it takes 100 steps to do a thing, reset button can be 3 steps, 10 steps, 20 steps. It's incremental improvements and change. Knowing the destination helps because that means, do we agree this tool will get us there? We might not be using every feature of this tool day one, but we know that this tool will allow us to have a brighter future.
I love the call out that just getting the new tech is not going to solve everything, that you do have to develop new habits. Otherwise you're going to have 22 junk drawers instead of just one. So it's like, how can we develop new systems, which is why it's so important to bring the team very clear into this. And we're defining what success looks like and what are those habits, what are those pain points that we keep tripping over. So such a rich convo with you two. We can't help ourselves. We always go back to the bigger story that captivates us to get into this work, which is the power of philanthropy in our lives. And so I'm curious if each of y'all would share a moment. It could be personal or it could be one that you witnessed of generosity or philanthropy that really has moved you and has stuck with you. Maria, I'll start with you. You're nodding.
Yeah. So I was thinking about this, and I think it was my first or second week at the food bank. I didn't even know what a food bank was when I first started. Wow. I didn't even know they existed. And I remember one day we had a mom come and ask for food, and we were able to provide her with resources of where she could get food as well as a box. And I just remember looking outside as my boss was talking with her and looking at her car, and I saw a little kid just peek out from the side. And I think that was a very moving moment for me because that really put the face of hunger in front of me where I'd never experienced it personally before. I've seen it. And so I think after that, I was like, oh, this is important work. We need to help.
Yeah, this is all of us. Thank you for sharing that. Charles, what about you?
My parents instilled it in me. My mom was hired as the first dental hygienist at a rescue mission in Jacksonville, Florida, that was made available through a Johnson & Johnson grant. So it was important to her for us to get us involved as kids early on, to volunteer at the food bank or the rescue mission or animal shelter so we can help our neighbors and also, get a perspective that there are others that need help all around us, and helping feels really good.
Helping does feel really good. And I mean, clearly, this is my favorite question that we ask every single one of our guests because it is a way to connect our humanity back to the work. And when we feel that level of privilege or humility or hope, I just find that people that work in this space, I don't know about you guys, I just want to chase it over and over and over again. That feeling never gets old to me. So I thank you both for the important roles that you are both serving in your respective jobs. I thank you for the way that you show up for people every single day. We need it right now. And you know our podcast well enough to know when we start to wind down, we're going to ask you a one good thing. So, Charles, I'm going to come to you first. What's bubbling up for you today? It could be a secret to success or something you live by. What's your one good thing?
One good thing would be, gratitude for the team that I get to work with. And so, and expressing that gratitude on a daily basis. I think, we all work so hard. Hearing an extra thank you, hearing an extra "you're awesome" helps, because they they recharge my batteries. And so if I can help recharge theirs, just that's a really small effort on my part when compared to everything else that's going on.
Charles, paying it forward. What about you, Maria?
Mine is grace, giving yourself and others grace to do what you can do with the understanding that there's a lot of other things happening in life outside of work, and just giving each other grace. I think sometimes we're really hard on ourselves and we want to get the things done, but we have to kind of step back and give people permission to do it at a certain time period if they need it, right? That's how grace comes in.
I mean, thank you for taking what could have been such a heady tech talk and making it human, reminding us that it's the people that we need to center in this process. So thank you so much, y'all. I would love for our listeners to be able to connect with y'all. So Maria, tell us where they can find more info about Second Harvest and maybe where you hang out online too. Tell us where to find you.
I love LinkedIn. So you can definitely find me on there posting about things happening at the food bank. I like to share things I've learned. I'll probably be sharing more things we learned with our new tools. Like sharing is caring, which is the Feeding America motto that a lot of food bankers follow. I really strongly believe in that. And
I love that. Charles, how about you in the RKD group? Where's the best way to connect?
I'm also on LinkedIn. Feel free to, if you like to nerd out a little bit or a lot, feel free to reach out. I'm good in big doses and little doses.
We're going to take you in any dose we can get you, Charles. We can tell you are most certainly for good. I just thank you all for bringing in this incredible conversation, because the reality is whether you have a CRM or a donation form, maybe you're working with email or web, we can do personalization at scale. We can create these seamless experiences for our donors, even if you're a one-person shop. And guess what? It's going to be a gift to you because you're not spinning all the plates. The plates are, it's like the systems are talking to each other. They're talking to you. And Maria, thank you for this incredible example. We are rooting you on very heavily in all the things as you supply food to Central Florida, and rooting both of you on in all your work. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Grateful. Thanks.